Coming up on this week's travel show.
I'm in Taiwan discovering priceless treasures from China's ancient past and trying my hand at a traditional dragon dance.
Now where? Stay here.
Lucy hits the slopes in France to test out the latest ski gadgets. And we head to Canada to meet the amazing First Nations bareback riders of Alberta.
Riding at full speed, the adrenaline rush is unbelievable.
We start this week here in Taiwan, where Taipei's National Palace Museum recently announced that in the summer of 2020, it will send a temporary exhibition, including some of its finest pieces, to Tokyo to coincide with the Summer Olympic Games. The museum holds many of the finest treasures from 8,000 years of Chinese history. But how they got to Taiwan is a story that's as interesting and contentious as the museum itself. The original Palace Museum was founded in 1925 in Beijing's Forbidden City. In 1933, China's nationalist government evacuated most of the collection to Nanjing to stop it falling into the hands of the invading Japanese army, who had already occupied Manchuria. Japan's long war in China lasted until their unconditional surrender in 1945. But from the ashes of one war, another started, as the ruling Chinese nationalist Kuomintang government became locked in a bitter civil war with armed Chinese communists. By 1948, it was clear that the Chinese nationalists had lost the war. So they retreated to Nanjing and set sail for Taiwan, taking much of the National Palace collection with them.
There are 700,000 pieces in this museum, and of course they're not all on display at the one time. So if you'd like to see the entire collection, you'd have to come 4 times a year for 12 years.
In this purpose-built museum, the collection is divided into 8 main sections. Ceramics, jades, and paintings are the most popular. Researcher Emma Lai kindly agrees to show me several of the collection's star attractions.
I'm going to show you a dragon vase.
It's very impressive.
Ceramic in this size is very difficult to make because if the firing temperature is wrong, then it will collapse. The vase itself is a beautiful white color. You need pure white clay to achieve this. And then you can see the dragon is painted with cobalt blue. The dragon itself is painted just magnificently. So, and a ceramic in this size, so we know this should be exclusively being used by the Chinese emperor. But a Chinese emperor is symbolized by a dragon with 5 toes, but this one only has 3.
So what does that mean if it has 3 toes?
This could be a diplomatic gift to the foreign kings. And foreign kings, of course, they should be inferior to the Chinese emperor.
So Emma, I've really been looking forward to seeing the jade cabbage. Tell me more about it. Why is it so popular?
Sure. This is a beautiful piece of jadeite, and this is actually a dowry piece of Lady Jing. She's one of the concubines of Emperor Guangxu during 19th century. And the green color and the white color indicating girls' virginity and purity. And you can see there are 2 insects on it. There are katydid and the locust. They are quite profile reproducers, so it's a good wish of the newlywed, actually, to have lots of offspring.
A big part of the work going on here at the museum involves conservation, and Mr. Hong is one of the many experts working behind the scenes carrying out this highly skilled work.
这个书画修复室总共有6位修复师， 在做书画修复。那我们一年大概有350件到400件的书画跟书法完成修复，包括它很多的折痕，包括它很多的缺损。那有一部分它也因为年代的老化，我们要重新做装裱。
Okay, so Emma, where are we going now?
I'm going to show you one of our most important works of art in this museum is the cauldron of Duke of Mao, dated 3,000 years ago. And the outside decoration is modest. But what important, in fact, is inscription inside. You can find 500 Chinese characters being casted. And this is the longest inscription you can ever find in any ancient Chinese bronze.
Was it quite common back in those days to inscribe inside a cauldron like this?
Indeed, it's like during the Zhou dynasty. And also the calligraphy is beautiful, actually, yes. It's archaic style. And actually you can compare it with the modern day Mandarin.
Ah,
yes.
I see. And how does it compare to modern day Mandarin?
You can still recognize this is the word king in the 3,000 years ago, and this is modern day king.
Yes.
So it's easy to recognize.
And this one's very similar too.
Yes, it's heaven actually, because it's above human beings, and then this heaven, and this is actually the character of human being actually.
Ah.
Yes.
Yeah, it does look like a man.
Yes.
Ever since the end of the Civil War in the late 1940s, there's been a strange relationship between the Chinese mainland and Taiwan. And whilst Beijing would like to see a lot of the exhibits returned, many Chinese in Taiwan say that some of these priceless objects may not have survived the purges of China's Cultural Revolution if they'd stayed on the mainland. With so much to display, some of the collection often travels abroad. Later this year, a part of it will go on show in Australia. And in the run-up to the 2020 Olympic Games, it will then be heading to Japan. But so far, there are no plans to allow any of the collection to go on show in mainland China anytime soon. There'll be more from Taiwan later in the show, but next we're off to Alberta in Canada, where bareback horse riding is making a comeback, thanks to the country's First Nations community.
The adrenaline rush is unbelievable. Riding at full speed. The essence of it, these are all warriors. The cultural component of this, a few hundred years ago when it was just us and the horse in the prairie, there were no saddles. The painting of the horse as well can go back to ceremonies. When you're going out on a buffalo hunt, you yourself are cleansed. All that is encompassed in this. You'll see nothing but a huge cultural impact, even for us, because sometimes we forget who we are as well as First Nations people.
With horses, right? You got so many things to do. You're always busy. You're up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Your mind's not there for drugs or alcohol, right? We're here for the horse system to do it right.
It's going to take a lot of the youth off the street and into barns like this. They're away from the street life. They're away from, I guess the worst thing is being in a gang right now.
I started last year. I fell short. I was second in the standings, and this year I'm number one. have fluid in the knees. I fell off my horse. My shirt got caught and I was stopping him and then I double bounced off. So I've been like working around those injuries and still finding the courage to hop back on.
This is just a whole new way of expressing yourself through your mental health, through your physical health, through your emotional health. There's something about equine therapy and the horse spirit that helps our people. When you take care of a horse, that horse gives back to you, not just physically, but through your spirit.
Still to come on this week's travel show.
We're off to the French Alps to join Lucy as she snow tests the latest ski gadgets.
I'm not going to lie, talking into a glove is a little bit strange and people will walk past you with bewildered looks on their faces, but core volume is clear, the gloves are nice and warm and comfy, and if your hands are wet and sodden and you're the kind of person that takes a lot of calls on the slopes, these are really, really convenient. Pricey, but convenient.
And I try my best to take charge of a dragon dance team here in Taiwan.
Oh, there's at least 1,000 people here. It's a lot more than I thought. Now, one thing I've heard that you must try when you come here to Taiwan is Stinky Tofu, or Chou Tofu as they say here. It's one of the most popular street food dishes, but I really hope it's not as bad as it sounds. So I've been told that Stinky Tofu was discovered by an ancient tofu seller. At the end of the day, he had all this leftover tofu, so he popped it in an earthen jar and then came back a few days later and it was fermented. And he actually tried it and it tasted quite good. And that was the beginnings of Stinky Tofu. So this is the famous Stinky Tofu. The odor is quite pungent. It's a bit like smelly feet. Here goes, wish me luck. It's not bad actually. I expected to hate it. It's quite good. And you can taste the fermentation, and it's a bit like tofu, which I actually quite like tofu, and I know tofu is an acquired taste. So I quite like it, especially with the sauce and the chili. It's nowhere near as bad as I thought it would be. Should give it a try.
Hello, so today I'm here in Tignes, a beautiful ski resort here in the French Alps to test out, as you've probably guessed, a bunch of the latest ski gadgets. Now first up is Carve, an artificially intelligent ski instructor that lives inside your boots. It comes with a pair of insoles and 2 trackers that sit on the back of your boots. With 48 pressure sensors in each insert, plus an accelerometer, gyroscope and a magnetometer, the Carve unit tracks your motion, pressure distribution and orientation of your skis. So it certainly sounds impressive, but how well does it work? To help me test this out, I have ski instructor Darren.
How you feeling?
I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm ready for the challenge.
Let's do it. Come on, let's see what you got. All right, so let's keep those hands there. Keep your hands in front of you. Good.
It rates your performance as you're going down the slope to help you reach a better ski IQ in real time, which is how the platform ranks how well you're doing. It also offers encouragement as you're going down the slope.
Bend the inside leg and maintain outside ski pressure.
Carve's video analysis feature also lets you review your technique alongside real data in order to get a better understanding of where you're going wrong and handily synchronizes within seconds of coming off the slopes. So Darren, do you agree with the kind of feedback that Carve's been giving me this afternoon?
What's really useful is when I filmed you coming down and you can see in real time where you're placed on which ski. You know, you have a dominant side. We worked that out.
I do.
And that right leg. And the data from Carve was actually saying exactly the same thing. So it would be a really good way to reinforce it. So if you're skiing by yourself, you can check at the end of the day or the end of the run where your problems may lie.
Yeah.
And if it starts to look a lot more even, you know you're on the right track.
A pair of inserts and trackers will cost you £279. Fully charged, it will last for 30 hours, and at 2mm thick, the insole will slip underneath the liners of your ski boots without causing any tightness. So this is no ordinary jacket. This is an incredibly cool and intelligent heated jacket from a techwear company called Ministry of Supply that will keep you warm and protect you from the elements. For a heated jacket, it's surprisingly stylish, containing 3 carbon fibre heating elements concealed behind the pockets and back to keep you warm. It's pretty simple to use. Just plug in the USB battery to manually select your desired heat level using the companion app, and use a button in the lapel to turn the elements on and off. That battery also supports QI wireless charging, so you can charge your phone while it's in your pocket. So whether you're on the slopes or enjoying a bit of après-ski, I think a jacket like this is such a brilliant idea to keep you company. The manual mode's fantastic, gives you that control. The smart mode means you can enjoy your day, go about your business, and being able to wirelessly charge your phone is just a brilliant bonus. With a 10,000 milliamp battery, you can get up to 4.5 hours of continuous heat at maximum power. Though it is expensive, currently selling online for £390. Hey Darren, where are you?
I'm at the top, Ben, how are you?
I'm at the bottom. I'll come up. On the gondola I go. These ski gloves come with a brilliant tech twist. As well as keeping your hands warm, they're loaded with Bluetooth to make and receive calls. In the thumb, you'll find a waterproof loudspeaker and a microphone with noise-cancelling technology. The glove also vibrates for incoming calls. The Juice Bluetooth 2.0 gloves are retailing at £299. I'm not going to lie, talking into a glove is a little bit strange, and people will walk past you with bewildered looks on their faces, but call volume is clear, the gloves are nice and warm and comfy, and if your hands are wet and sodden and you're the kind of person that takes a lot of calls on the slopes, these are really, really convenient. Pricey, but convenient.
Well, to finish this week, you join me back in Taiwan, where I'm about to take on a challenge in front of a crowd who have very high expectations. Let's hope I can pull it off.
So it's the annual Tahlia Arts Festival, and a local dance company have invited me to take part in a performance that they're doing for today's parade. Hi, you must be Roger.
Hi, I am. Let's get trained.
Well, okay.
The festival is held every year close to Taipei, and teams from all over the country and further afield come to compete in a celebration of music and dance. It's a big, high-profile event, so my team are taking a real risk by letting a total novice join their ranks.
Okay.
You round the circle.
Round the circle. Okay.
With only an hour to go before the start of the parade, troop leader Roger walks me through my role. I'd rather be hiding somewhere at the back, but he's got me leading the whole team.
Look at the dragon.
Swing.
Swing this way.
Yes.
Oh, so like an 8?
Yes.
Like an 8, okay.
The idea is that the dragon follows the ball and stick that I'm holding. If only I knew where I was meant to be heading.
Oh my God.
Miraculously, the other performers follow my somewhat frantic lead. Let's just hope they'll be this accommodating when we do it for real. Further downtown, the crowds are building, and so are my nerves when I'm introduced to the local mayor. He's come to see performers who have been practicing for months. I wonder if he knows I've only had 20 minutes rehearsal. Probably best he doesn't.
Welcome to Taoyuan.
Thank you.
Today are dancing clubs from individual high schools.
Ah, okay, great. I'm so happy to take part.
Perhaps an overstatement, terrified, might be a more appropriate description of how I'm feeling right now.
I hope no one laughs at me.
In the first section of the parade, a dozen or so local high schools will compete for best performance. The streets are crammed with friends, families and teachers all waiting to see their groups perform. They've been working on their routines for months, and today is the day that it all comes together with an extravaganza of energy, colour and sound, with a great level of showmanship thrown in too for good measure. Next up are a troupe of Japanese Otaki dancers wearing masks depicting traditional mythic Middle-earth characters. I'm told that the dance is meant to bring prosperity and good luck to whoever performs it. So let's hope some of that rubs off on me. And And now I can hear my group approaching. I am so nervous and I don't want to make a total fool of myself in front of this big crowd.
Oh, there's at least 1,000 people here. It's a lot more than I thought. Okay, tell me when. Now? Now?
And all of a sudden, I'm on. My mind seems to go totally blank amidst all the noise and colour. Luckily, Roger is there to give me a push in the right direction. Somehow, the team follow my lead, although I really have no idea where I'm going.
Okay, now it's middle.
Yes. Nice.
Sorry.
It's okay.
And then my big dragon stick seems to develop a mind of its own.
Oh, sorry. I was really, really nervous and it was quite stressful. Oh my gosh. I tried to remember my moves. I think I only hit 2 people with the ball. But it was exciting. My mind went totally blank when I got out there and I forgot to count how many times and it was a panic. I was in a state of panic. Sorry to the people that I hit with the ball. It seemed to go on forever and I can't believe I was part of a dragon dance on the streets of Taiwan. Who would have thought? Well, that certainly was an experience. Well, that's all we've got time for this week. Coming up next week.
Rafa is in Madrid, where a transport revolution looks set to change the face of the city.
3 weeks ago, it was full of traffic going around. All new for pedestrians, for the people, no cars. I love it.
Join us for that if you can. Until next time, from me, Carmen Roberts, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in Taipei, it's goodbye.